There's a moment that comes to all of us, quiet, unexpected, often in the space between sleep and waking, when something deep inside whispers a truth we've been avoiding. It's the moment when your soul finally speaks louder than your fear, when the authentic you rises above the noise of everyone else's expectations and says, simply, enough. Maybe you're there right now, feeling that familiar ache in your chest, that restless stirring that means change is coming, whether you invite it or not. You've been carrying something or someone that no longer fits the person you're becoming, and every fiber of your being knows it's time to let go. But letting go, oh, how we complicate something so natural, something our hearts understand perfectly, but our minds resist with every weapon they possess. Carl Jung, that beautiful explorer of the human soul, understood this dance between our conscious fears and unconscious wisdom. He knew that the very things we cling to most desperately are often the prisons we've built around our own light. When you feel that pull toward release, toward walking away from what depletes you, you're not just making a practical decision. You're answering a call from the deepest part of yourself, the part Jung called the self, the eternal and authentic core that has been waiting patiently for you to remember who you really are. But here's what no one tells you about this sacred act of letting go. It begins long before you take that first step away. It starts in the quiet moments when you notice how your energy shifts around certain people, how your shoulders carry tension after certain conversations, how your dreams become restless when your days are filled with relationships that require you to abandon pieces of yourself to maintain peace. Your body knows. Your soul knows. They've been sending you signals like love letters you've been too afraid to open. This knowing creates a kind of beautiful agony, doesn't it? Because once you see clearly, once you feel in your bones what authentic connection looks like versus what you've been accepting, there's no going back to the comfortable unconsciousness that once protected you. You've tasted something real, something nourishing, and suddenly the artificial sweetness of inauthentic relationships becomes impossible to swallow. Jung taught us that every relationship is a mirror, reflecting back parts of ourselves we may not even know exist. The people who drain you, who demand that you shrink to make them comfortable, who cannot celebrate your growth, they're showing you something profound about your own relationship with yourself. They're reflecting back the ways you've learned to diminish your own light, the patterns you've inherited about love being conditional, about worth being something you must earn rather than something you inherently possess. When you begin to see this clearly, something shifts in the deepest layers of your psyche. It's like watching a house renovation in reverse. Instead of building, you're finally ready to tear down walls that have been blocking the light for far too long. But unlike physical renovation, this inner work happens in the mysterious realm of dreams, in synchronicities that seem to appear from nowhere, in sudden moments of clarity that feel like coming home to yourself. The discomfort that comes with this awareness is sacred discomfort. It's your authentic self pushing against the constraints you've accepted for so long. Jung called this process individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming who you truly are rather than who you think you should be. And part of this journey, perhaps the most crucial part, involves learning to honor your own needs, your own boundaries, your own truth, even when doing so disappoints people you care about. This is where the real inner conflict begins. Because you've been conditioned to believe that love means sacrifice, that kindness means accepting treatment that doesn't honor your worth, that being a good person means putting everyone else's comfort before your own well-being. But what if the opposite were true? What if the most loving thing you could do, for yourself and for others, is to model what authentic self-respect looks like? When you finally find the courage to walk away from what doesn't serve you, something extraordinary happens in the invisible realm where souls recognize each other. The people you're releasing, they feel it in ways they might not even understand. Your departure becomes a mirror for them too, reflecting their own relationship with authenticity, their own fears about being truly seen and known. Some will be grateful for the mirror you provide. Others will rage against it, will try to pull you back into old patterns because your growth threatens the comfortable dynamics they've built their identity around. Jung understood that this reaction isn't personal, it's universal. When someone chooses to live more authentically, it creates ripples in the collective unconscious, touching everyone in their orbit with the possibility of their own liberation. Your decision to honor your truth becomes an invitation for others to examine their own lives, their own compromises, their own forgotten dreams. Not everyone is ready for that invitation, and their resistance isn't about you. It's about their own relationship with change, with growth, with the terrifying beauty of becoming who they really are. But here's the miracle that unfolds when you stay true to your path despite the external turbulence. Space opens up. Sacred, fertile space where new life can grow. At first, this space might feel empty, even frightening. You've become so accustomed to filling your days with the energy of others that your own company might feel foreign, overwhelming, too quiet. This is the moment when many people panic and rush to fill the void with anything. New relationships, distractions, busy work, anything to avoid being alone with themselves. Don't do this. Stay in the empty space. Let it hold you like a gentle mother holds a crying child. This emptiness isn't absence, it's presence. It's the presence of your authentic self finally having room to breathe, to unfold, to reveal aspects of your being that have been compressed into silence for far too long. Jung believed that in this quiet space, the unconscious could finally speak clearly, could send you the messages you need to hear about your true path, your genuine desires, your soul's deepest longings. In this sacred solitude, you begin to notice things you've never noticed before. The way morning light falls across your floor becomes a daily meditation. The sound of your own breathing, no longer regulated by the anxiety of managing other people's emotions, settles into a natural rhythm that feels like coming home. Your thoughts, no longer scattered by the constant need to anticipate and respond to others' needs, begin to organize themselves around your own dreams, your own curiosities, your own healing. This is when the synchronicities begin. Jung's beloved synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that seem to wink at you from the universe, confirming that you're aligned with something larger than your individual will. Maybe it's a book that falls open to exactly the page you need to read, or a conversation with a stranger that addresses the exact question you've been carrying in your heart. Maybe it's an opportunity that appears just when you're ready for it, or a friendship that emerges naturally, without force or effort, with someone who sees and celebrates the real you. These aren't accidents. They're the natural result of living in harmony with your authentic self. When you stop trying to be who you think you should be and start being who you actually are, you align with a deeper current in life, a flow that carries you toward experiences and connections that truly nourish your soul. It's as if the universe has been waiting patiently for you to stop struggling against the current and learn to swim with it instead. But this journey toward authenticity isn't always smooth waters. There will be days when you question everything, when the loneliness feels too heavy, when you wonder if you've made a terrible mistake in choosing yourself over the familiar patterns that once defined your life. In these moments, remember that doubt isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. It's often a sign that you're on the right one, that you're growing beyond the small, safe version of yourself you once knew. Jung taught us that growth requires us to hold the tension between opposites, between security and adventure, between connection and independence, between who we've been and who we're becoming. This tension isn't something to resolve quickly or eliminate. It's something to inhabit with curiosity and patience, knowing that wisdom emerges from our willingness to sit with complexity rather than rushing toward simple answers. As you learn to navigate this tension, something beautiful begins to emerge: discernment. You develop an internal compass that doesn't rely on external validation to tell you what's true for you. You begin to feel, in your body and in your heart, the difference between relationships that energize you and those that drain you, between opportunities that align with your values and those that ask you to compromise your integrity. between love that celebrates your growth and attachment that fears your expansion. This discernment becomes your superpower. It allows you to move through the world with clarity and grace, choosing connections and experiences that truly serve your highest good. You stop apologizing for your needs, stop explaining your boundaries, stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Not because you become hard or uncaring, but because you finally understand that your authentic presence is a gift to yourself and to everyone who has the wisdom to receive it. The people who belong in your life will recognize this authentic you and celebrate it. They won't try to change you or fix you or manage you. They'll simply witness you, support you, and grow alongside you. These relationships feel different, easier, more spacious, more nourishing. Conversations flow naturally, silences feel comfortable, and love becomes something you share from overflow rather than something you perform to earn acceptance. Jung called this the difference between relationship and projection. When you're relating from your authentic self, you see others clearly, as they truly are, rather than as who you need them to be to make you feel complete. You love from wholeness, rather than from woundedness, which creates space for others to show up authentically too. This is how healing spreads, not through fixing or saving, but through modeling what authentic love looks like. As this transformation deepens, you begin to understand something profound about the nature of letting go. It's not an act of rejection or anger. It's an act of love. You're loving yourself enough to insist on relationships that honor your worth. You're loving others enough to release them from the impossible task of completing you. You're loving life enough to engage with it honestly, openly, with your whole heart, rather than with the guarded fragments you once offered. This shift from protecting yourself to expressing yourself changes everything. Your energy becomes magnetic in a completely different way. Instead of attracting people who want to use your light to illuminate their darkness, you attract people who have their own light and want to create something beautiful together. Instead of opportunities that ask you to abandon yourself, you attract possibilities that invite you to become more of who you truly are. The shadow side of this transformation, and Jung always reminded us to look at the shadows, is that not everyone will understand or support your journey toward authenticity. Some people will interpret your self-respect as selfishness, your boundaries as rejection, your growth as abandonment. This isn't easy to navigate, especially when these reactions come from people you love. In these moments, remember that you're not responsible for other people's reactions to your authenticity. You're responsible for showing up as truthfully and lovingly as possible, but you cannot control how others receive your truth. Some people are ready to meet you in this deeper place of authenticity, and some are not. Both responses are valid, but neither determines your worth or the rightness of your path. Jung understood that the individuation process, becoming who you truly are, is both deeply personal and mysteriously collective. When you heal your own patterns, when you learn to love yourself authentically, when you create healthy boundaries and nourishing relationships, you contribute to the healing of the collective unconscious. You make it easier for others to do the same work in their own lives. Your personal transformation becomes a gift to the world. This is perhaps the most beautiful aspect of choosing to let go of what doesn't serve you. It's never just about you. Every time you choose authenticity over approval, truth over comfort, growth over stagnation, you're casting a vote for a more conscious, more loving world. You're demonstrating that it's possible to live differently, to love differently, to be human in a way that honors both individual truth and collective healing. As you continue on this path, you'll discover that letting go isn't something you do once. It's a practice, a way of life, a continuous returning to what's real and true and nourishing. You'll learn to recognize when you're holding on to something from habit rather than love, when you're staying in situations that have outgrown their purpose, when you're trying to force something that wants to naturally complete itself. This doesn't mean you become careless with relationships or commitments. It means you become more conscious, more intentional, more alive to the natural rhythms of connection and release that govern all healthy relationships. You learn to trust the organic intelligence that knows when to hold on and when to let go, when to fight for something, and when to surrender it with grace. In the deepest sense, learning to let go is learning to trust life itself, to trust that when you release what doesn't belong to you, what does belong to you can find its way to you more easily. It's learning to dance with uncertainty, to find security not in controlling outcomes but in trusting your ability to navigate whatever comes with wisdom, courage, and an open heart. Jung spent his life studying the mysteries of human consciousness, and one of his most profound insights was this: we become who we are not by adding more to ourselves, but by releasing what was never truly ours to begin with. We discover our authentic nature by peeling away the layers of conditioning, expectation, and fear that have accumulated over our lives like dust on a mirror. When you choose to let go of relationships, situations, and patterns that don't serve your highest good, you're not losing anything real. You're revealing something real: the luminous, eternal, endlessly creative essence of who you truly are. This essence has been there all along, waiting patiently beneath the surface, ready to emerge the moment you create space for it to breathe. This is the gift you give yourself when you find the courage to walk away from what no longer serves you. Not emptiness, but fullness. Not loneliness, but solitude rich with possibility. Not loss, but liberation. Not an ending, but a beginning, so beautiful you couldn't have imagined it from where you were before. Your soul knows this truth, even when your mind argues against it. Your heart recognizes authentic love, even when your ego insists on accepting less. Your body relaxes into peace, even when your thoughts create chaos. Trust these deeper ways of knowing. They're guiding you home to yourself, to a life that reflects your true nature rather than your learned fears. As I share these words with you, I feel the same stirring in my own heart that perhaps you're feeling in yours. That recognition, that remembering, that quiet yes, that rises from depths too deep for words. You're not alone in this journey toward authenticity. Every person who has ever chosen their truth over their comfort, their growth over their safety, their authentic self over their performing self, walks this path with you in spirit. The courage you're feeling, the longing for something more real, the willingness to question everything you've accepted about love and relationships and worth, this isn't weakness or selfishness or confusion. This is your soul calling you home. This is your authentic self refusing to remain hidden any longer. This is life itself, flowing through you, asking you to remove the barriers you've built against your own happiness. What would it feel like to trust this calling completely? What would change if you fully believed that your authentic presence is not just acceptable, but necessary, not just wanted, but needed in this world? What relationships, opportunities, and experiences might be waiting just beyond your willingness to release what's blocking their arrival? These aren't questions to answer with your mind. They're invitations to feel into with your whole being. Let them live in your heart as you go through your days. Notice what they stir up, what they illuminate, what they call forth from the depths of your knowing. If this message has touched something true in you, don't let that recognition pass without honoring it. Share it with someone who needs to hear that they're not crazy for wanting more, for feeling different, for questioning everything they've been taught about love and relationships and worth. Sometimes the most profound gift we can give another person is the permission to trust their own inner knowing. Leave a comment below and tell me what's stirring in your heart as you read these words. What truth is your soul whispering that your mind has been afraid to hear? What are you ready to release to make space for what wants to emerge? Your words matter. Your truth matters. Your willingness to share your authentic experience creates a bridge for others to cross from isolation into understanding. Subscribe if you want to continue this conversation. If you want to explore together what it means to live authentically in a world that often rewards performance over presence. Hit the notification bell if you want to be reminded that you're not alone in this journey, that there are others who understand the sacred work of becoming who you truly are. Remember, every time you choose your truth over your fear, you make it easier for someone else to do the same. Every boundary you set with love, every authentic choice you make, every moment you honor your own knowing over external expectations, you're healing not just your own life, but contributing to the healing of our collective human story. Thank you for listening with your heart. Thank you for trusting your own inner wisdom. Thank you for being brave enough to consider that maybe, just maybe, the life you're longing for is not just possible, but inevitable. When you finally stop running from who you really are. Keep going, keep growing, keep trusting the voice within that knows the way home.